the Clark Street Project.
Okay.
Are either one of you familiar?
Yeah.
Fill me in.
Okay, so the Clark Street Project is a new podcast series that's been released by the folks at The Plug. Sherelle Dorsey is the host. And the first episode was released yesterday. It's a little over 20 minutes long, and it's exploring the journey of Blacks in tech, most specifically in journalism and innovation. So I won't give anything away, but I will say that it is incredibly well done. Like, it's produced really well. It's NPR quality.
I was going to say very NPR, very PBS. I agree.
Sherelle's ability to storytell is, I mean, it's on par with any great journalist. And I was entertained from the beginning to the end. And I don't think that's just because we know her really well. I think it's just because the story was really good.
They resonate.
Say it again.
They resonate, really.
It really did. Like just learning the beginnings of, I don't want to give anything away. Just, I would say, listen. Totally worth it. And I can't wait to get to like the second episode next week.
Speaking of series of things, I hope everyone's tuning in to the debates tonight. I know I will be, with popcorn and a glass of wine. Can't wait.
Yeah, what time does it start?
9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern, so we'll have 1 hour.
The pre-show starts at 8, so...
Then we will be stopping this on time, because I would like to watch, my democracy in action.
And Candace baked a pie today, so it'll be perfect.
Wow.
Perfect.
What kind?
Apple.
You want to bring it in the frame? You want to show everyone? I want to see it.
Okay, give me 1 second.
You should.
Now let's caveat, little caveat here. I did not have the opportunity to make pie crust today because I have 2 jobs right now. So I will show you the pie, but I'm just letting you know the pie crust is not my own. All right, thanks.
And while she gets the pie, Brian, how do you enjoy your pie? Are you an a la mode guy? Are you a caramel drizzle? Are you some people, I guess, sprinkle nuts on it or whatever. Like, what are you into?
You're like, I don't know anything about that.
I've seen it.
Like a lot of things we talk about with food. Like, say, I'm a purist, so I'm not a drizzle guy. I'll eat it. Like, there's a particular, like, there's like stadiums, like an apple pie kind of situation that has drizzle on it. I like that one, but that's like, for me, that's like a commercial pie. I prefer Dutch apple, so like just straight sugar and cinnamon on top as like on the topping, or that style, the traditional.
That looks really good.
Yeah, you call it kind of a little closer.
I know. On today's episode of the Great Cincinnati Bake Off.
So it's not cooled off all the way yet, so it's still a little liquidy.
Oh, definitely.
So here we are.
It's great. It looks great.
Yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully there are no screenshots of that apple pie at any point.
Oh, there will be. There will be. All right. Sounds like Marlon's ready for us to rock and roll. So let's go.
All right.
Shall we? We're a company and a venture capital firm that invests in companies run by women and minorities, particularly when they're away from the coast. I'm very, very focused on the Midwest. You are watching live the first pitch competition on Twitch, where you, the viewer, have an opportunity to vote for companies that you like best.
So every episode, we have 3 judges plus you, the audience. You also get to judge each pitch. After each presentation, you'll see a cute little box pop up with a Twitter link for you to vote for if you would invest in the company yourselves.
During round 1, we watched as the startups presented their pitch deck in 5 minutes or less. Then the judges began their Q&A. After we selected viewer-submitted questions for the founders to answer, in the end, the audience and judges had the opportunity to vote in the poll below for the company they like best.
Candace, do you mind if we start?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
That thunder.
Did you hear it?
Good.
I heard it in your house 2 seconds after I heard it in mine.
How weird.
Wow. So among the thunder and lightning, welcome back to season 3 of Twitch Pitch. The very first pitch competition on Twitch presented to you by the team here at Lightship Capital. Every season, we have 12 companies that go head to head and compete for a slot in the finale, where the best 3 companies will compete for $10,000 and some great Amazon Web Service credits and the title of the best pitcher of the season. Our companies this season are all focused in health and wellness, thanks to one of our key sponsors at Aarp Innovation Labs. Every episode, we have a CEO present who they are and why they started the company, and then we see a 5-minute pitch from that founder, and then we open it up for Q&A. Q&A from both the judges as well as the audience. So as you're watching the pitch, feel free to type any questions or comments you may have about their presentation down in the comment box below you. In addition, after that, we open it up for voting. The judges, we all vote, and you, the audience, get a vote as well. Every season, the votes are as follows. Candace, our founder and CEO, gets 2 votes. Brian gets 1 vote. I get 1 vote, and you, the audience, also get a vote in the final decision. Every season, this show is brought to you by some incredible sponsors. Our first sponsor this season is the Human Accelerator, the very first accelerator in the Midwest dedicated to supporting underrepresented founders, building really great things here in the Midwest. In addition, we have the Ohio Third Frontier. They're a tech-based economic development initiative and a part of the Ohio Development Services Agency. The Ohio Third Frontier is committed to transforming the state's economy through the accelerated growth of diverse startups and early-stage tech companies. In addition, we have AWS, Amazon Web Services, as another sponsor. They offer reliable, scalable, and inexpensive cloud computing for all, from startups to growth stage companies, and they're free to join, and you only pay for what you need to use. Lastly, our new sponsor this season is the AARP Innovation Labs. They accelerate the innovation ecosystem by working with startups, accelerators, and the innovation community to empower people to choose how they live as they age. So this season, like every season, we have our core team of judges here. I'm Lexi. I lead the investment team at Lightship Capital. We also have Brian Brackeen in this corner up here. He is a general partner at Lightship and is an expert in all things artificial intelligence and machine learning related. And then in this corner, we have Candace Matthews Brackeen. She is the founder and executive director of the Hillman Accelerator, and she's also a general partner of Lightship Capital as well. She is an expert in all things CPG and e-commerce related. So once again, every episode we see 2 companies that go head to head, and we will bring our first company out now, and we have Provider Pool. Check them out.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Jana Westbrook, the founder and CEO of Provider Pool. My why, I'm a registered nurse and I love all things nursing. I've been in the healthcare industry for about 10 years, and it's sort of like being a kid in a candy store for me. But the last few years of my career were pretty challenging. The demand for nurses is really high, and COVID has truly exacerbated an already overworked workforce. it was evident to me that the way that we work is changing. Work is changing. The way that we find work, the workforce is demanding work-life balance, and rightfully so. Nurses are tired. I was really tired. I was suffering from burnout as a nurse. And so I wanted to create a way for healthcare professionals to sort of take control of their career, reduce burnout, and in turn, increase quality of care.
Awesome.
Here we go.
All right. Well,
She was on the numbers, like exactly on. All right.
My name is Jana Westbrook, founder and CEO of Provider Pool, where we are powering the future of work in healthcare. Over the last 6 months, we've watched as healthcare organizations all over the country struggle to quickly and seamlessly recruit and onboard nurses to care for their patients. But as a nurse and director of nursing for the last 10 years, I know this problem didn't just begin with the pandemic. Pre-COVID, over 80% of the 16,000 U.S. long-term care facilities struggled to find nurses. But today, healthcare staffing is in crisis. 400,000 nurses have already walked away from healthcare due to poor work-life balance, lack of flexibility, and feeling underappreciated. Healthcare organizations spend billions of dollars on job boards, talent recruiters, and traditional staffing firms, and they still struggle to fill their shifts. Until now. Provider Pool is a nurses on-demand platform combining the benefits of workforce management with a marketplace of vetted nursing professionals. Our software is a game changer for the world of long-term care. Click a button. Nursing facilities get top-tier nurses who earn more, yet cost less. We create and automate each facility's monthly schedule to identify open shifts. Then push notifications alert work-ready nurses that new opportunities are available. This intuitive process algorithmically matches the ideal nurse with the ideal job instantly. And there could not be a more opportune time than right now to have nurses on demand. We launched Provider Pool in 2019, and after a 6-month pilot, we found that through Provider Pool, nurses earned 60% higher wages, and we decreased nursing facility staffing expenses by 30%. We knew we were onto something huge. Fast forward to now. We currently make money by collecting a percentage of each shift worked, and we're filling over $10,000 of shifts every month and growing fast. Since May of 2020, we have onboarded over a dozen new healthcare organizations, all found through word of mouth, and we're focused on growing our presence to dominate St. Louis, then expanding throughout the Midwest, and eventually across the country. We're developing software and tech-enabled services to modernize the temporary healthcare staffing industry, a $20 billion per year market in the US. We're competing against the antiquated staffing agencies and the patchwork job boards that overcharge facilities, underpay nurses, and still rely on manual processes. With 5.5 million amazing nursing professionals currently serving on the front lines of healthcare, we're excited to offer a nurses on demand platform that accommodates their needs and preferences. And since Provider Pool is directly applicable to acute care and home care, we're only scratching the surface of the healthcare market. My team has strong backgrounds in healthcare, enterprise software, and B2B sales. We have the right players in the right places, and we've each run our own businesses before. Having recently signed 2 corporate contracts that will soon add over 202 new long-term care facilities into our marketplace, we couldn't be more excited to build Provider Pool into a billion-dollar business. If you share our passion for the future of work, we invite you to join us on this journey. Thank you.
It's always good when you have like nothing at the end of a pitch, like, got it, understood. Let's bring her in, ask her some questions. Hello again.
Hey.
Let me just first say congratulations on just working through that fire alarm, not letting that slow you down. You're like, I am going to deliver this pitch independent of that beeping noise. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I had that right here. I was like, her 4 smoke detector battery.
So I recorded it on Soapbox, and like, you can't mess up. Like, if you mess up, you just have to do it again. And that was the best take I could get. And I was just like, yeah, I gotta go with it. This is like take 50. So
It was really good. We're just picking on you.
It was the right one.
So I have a couple of questions. So why has no one been able to solve this issue? Are nurses just really, truly treated like they're expendable?
Yeah, no one has one in this market yet. And I think labor marketplaces are fairly new. I do believe that in the past, control has sort of remained with the company. And now we're in this generational workforce shift where control is finally shifting away from the company and to the workers. And workers sort of, they know what they want. They want, more flexibility, more work-life balance, and it's finally happening on a larger scale. So I think it's relatively new, and we'll see. I think we'll know the answer in about 5 years when it's pretty much penetrated every industry.
So remind me, before you signed this contract with, I think you said 202 new long-term care facilities,
Yeah.
How many facilities were you in prior to that?
So we were only in 12 prior to that.
And so tell me how you're going to do that, because that's a lot more.
So I actually pitched the COO of that nursing home string for investment. It wasn't as a customer, and I sort of went back and forth between like having a customer as an investor, like what are the pros and cons here? And he knew that we were a startup, and he was all for it. He was like, Jana, I know you're not in the 7 states that we're currently in, but just sort of take your time and start in the St. Louis homes first. So we are in their 2 St. Louis facilities, and we'll probably hit Kansas City next. And they've got facilities in Ohio, more in the Midwest, and a few on the East Coast. So it will be a process because I'll need quite a few nurses, but that's why I'm here.
Have any of your competitors, and I'm going to use that term loosely because no one has kind of won this space yet.
Right.
Like, do any of your competitors have a large number of facilities that they're trying to navigate at this point?
Yeah, I think I have like 3 or 4 that are really making a splash. It's definitely a regional play. So we have one company out on the East Coast who has done really, really well. But with us being in the Midwest, I've been able to sort of look what has been done on the coast and sort of take what hasn't been done well and what has and put my own twist on it and sort of innovate. But yeah, we've got a company over there that's like making some noise. But I do think that, our unique value props will sort of outpace theirs in the future. And who knows, I know the founder. We are close, so we'll see what happens. They're actually listed as an acquiring company on Staffing Industry Analysts at this point. And I think that's how someone will win this space, just by sort of maybe an incumbent will come in and invest in a roll-up and just purchase for market share.
That's I'm going to just stop there. That was a great answer. All right, who's next?
Yeah, and that could be your strategy as well, right? With the right funding, the right background.
Yeah.
So in a previous life, I did a lot of nurse scheduling for healthcare systems in the U.S. and abroad. And so better than anybody, nurse scheduling is like super challenging. The reason that sometimes there's separate systems is because it's harder than like airline scheduling. It's harder than regular shift scheduling by 10 times, right? And oftentimes there's a relationship between, like, let's say a charge nurse and someone else more junior, or having no more 2 senior people can work in a NICU, but never 2 junior people, for instance. I'm just giving some examples. You know better than I do. So with all of these complexities, are you focused more on just getting one style of nurse somewhere, or do you take into account some of these different levels or licenses or you name it?
Yeah, that would be difficult. If we were staffing NICU, OR, ICU, that does take quite a bit. It takes more credentialing. So we actually focus on long-term care where the acuity is low. You know, these are our grandmother, grandfather, very low acuity. They're usually nursing home, long-term care, assisted living, where a nurse can just come in. You know, nursing is nursing wherever you go. And when the acuity is low, it's okay. So for right now, our niche is long-term care. And our target professionals are LPNs and CNAs. So
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Perfect sense. And then in that, with the growth you're already seeing, right? You're already growing faster than you had imagined. What do you think it's going to take from a financing perspective? Are you thinking about this round, the next round? What's your path to kind of world domination?
Yeah, so we're really in data collection phase right now. You know, we're, growing a two-sided marketplace. You really have to learn how to thrive in imbalance and just reach a sustainable model. You have to really watch quality, and that's kind of where we are right now. And because we're in data collection, we're sort of like tracking the qualitative and quantitative data about professionals so that later we can have smart matches. So like right now, it's a very simple technology, a very simple solution. We're raising $1 million. And I think that will get us to our goal, which is 2,500 professionals working and covering like 80% fill rate. I have my KPIs written down, but we're raising $1 million. And I think that will give us a very solid playbook for how we expand this marketplace.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Before I ask my question, just a quick reminder to everyone watching tonight. If you have questions, please throw your questions in the comments below, whether you're watching on Twitch or YouTube or Periscope or any other platform. Put your comments down below. We'll see them and we'll ask the questions here live on the show. So I've asked you this before, but I thought it would be interesting to have everyone hear the response. Who uses Provider Pool, either at an agency or a hospital, and when is that call made? Is it on demand? We need someone today, or is
it's usually a staffing coordinator or a director of nursing that uses our platform, and they. In the beginning, we did think that it would be more on demand, one off. Hey, I had a call in or somebody going on vacation or maternity leave. But what we found was that there's an ongoing need, especially when COVID hit. It wasn't I just need someone tonight or this weekend. It's I need someone for 6 weeks. So that's the majority of the posts now. The facilities, the staffing director will usually get in at the beginning of the month, post all of the shifts for the month, and nurses will sort of create their schedules for 4 to 6 weeks at a time. It has the capability of being on demand, but so far it's been an ongoing need versus on demand.
And talk a little bit more, if you don't mind, and if you're comfortable sharing it publicly, about kind of the big picture of kind of the platform this could become in the long term.
Nursing is like a sorority. The healthcare workforce is sort of like a sorority or fraternity in that they love to come together. They love to create content together, share, follow like other nurses or other healthcare professionals. And so I really believe that this will eventually be the most trusted and collaborative, just digital community of healthcare professionals where healthcare organizations have the ability to advertise their job opportunities directly to them as they create content together. It could be industry agnostic, but I think healthcare is the sweet spot. I think it's very relevant to the nursing workforce, the healthcare workforce, locum tenens, physicians. I think it could be a one-stop shop for acute care, home health. But as of right now, we're long-term care, and our next step, I think, will be home care. So.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're going to take some questions from the audience. J9M says, do you see Nomad Health as a competitor?
More of an indirect competitor. I think they do a little bit more travel nursing, and we are per diem. I believe they may have some per diem in their roadmap, but more indirect right now. I think, there are a ton of companies in this space, to be honest, and they each sort of have their own individual niche.
We'll come back to Candace in a minute. Marcus A. Finley would like to know, is there an ability for nurses to find new full-time roles, or is it meant to be temporary work only?
It's meant to be temporary work right now. The demographic of nurse that we target and the professionals that we onboard generally want that. I think over time we'll sort of have enough data to choose whether or not this is for people looking for part-time or full-time employment. But as far as the data shows now, more nurses are leaving full-time and just going to multiple PRN jobs. So we'll sort of go with what the workforce wants.
And Marlon, our voice of God, is curious about, can you talk about your strategy on starting in the Midwest?
Yeah, it's tough in that we were a little bit behind on the times on technology. And so there are some barriers to just trying new things. And in long-term care, it's very antiquated. Ironically, it's very antiquated. And so they don't use a lot of technology to staff. It's pen and paper. But with COVID, it sort of was a catalyst. And I think the demand was so high that, barriers were down and people were just really, really willing to just try new things. And so I've never marketed to a facility. Everyone that we had was word of mouth. And so COVID was a blessing and a curse, but it's been good because it's not saturated with competition. But it's been successful for me. That's all I can say.
And Candace wants to know, when did you go through Techstars Casey?
So we actually just had demo day a few weeks ago. So that was my Techstars demo day pitch. So I went through this summer with Lisa Mitchell. I love her.
That's awesome. She's fantastic. She's we invested in one of their, we had a company that went through our program and then went through Techstars Casey. And she's always been.
I've got to just add on to the question about full-time versus temporary.
Yep.
Is there an opportunity in your contracts with the employers to say, hey, if you do decide to hire this person in the next X number of months, it's just an automatic $1,000 charge. That way you can see the upside without having to do anything.
Yeah, direct hire fees are part of our business model.
Nice.
It hasn't been a thing yet, just because the professionals love the flexibility of not having to commit. But it is a part of our business model. So we do have that built into our contract.
Perfect.
Great.
And Randy Mitchell, yes, Provider Pool is in market, but let's see. If so, where can we direct nurses to check you out? Give a shameless plug to how nurses can find how they can get onboarded.
Yeah, so you sign up on the app, and we have a mobile app launching in a few weeks, but it's providerpool.co. We're in the St. Louis metro area right now, looking at Indiana and Ohio next up. So I would love the referral.
We know some folks in Ohio, so that's good.
I love it. We do. That was fantastic. Everyone watching, if you'd like to vote for Provider Pool, text 11 to 203-408-6432. Once again, that is 11 to 203-408-6432. And since we're giving shameless plugs, also a big shout out to the Arch Grants team in St. Louis. They do fantastic work, especially Alfred, if you're watching this episode.
Do you know Alfred?
Yeah, we got an Arch Grant last year.
Okay, this is good to know. I have a call with Alfred next week, and I've not met him before.
He's fantastic.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He's fantastic.
Okay, yes, I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
He's great. So once again, text 11 to 203-408-6432. And even back here behind the scenes, Eliana is also seconding that he's the best. So clearly, Alfred.
Love it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It was great seeing you. And now, Brian, you say the thing.
We're going to talk behind your back.
Perfect.
As VCs do. So, what do we think?
It's a necessary company, right? Not only are populations aging, but nurses have been getting burnt out for the last 10, 20 years. hospital systems just understaff to increase their margins, and it's unfair. So I really, I mean, I enjoyed her explanation of kind of like, well, I really enjoyed her explanation of putting the power into the hands of the nurses. And I think it's a really interesting way of going about it. Going from 12 to 200 long-term care facilities is going to be an interesting proposition. I think it's good that that partner is willing to like allow her to learn as she goes. But you know, overall, like, I mean, it's an early company, but Jana seems like just a really bright young lady and the right person to lead.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with that. Real domain expertise, knows what the needs are, understands the customer on both sides, what they need and what they're looking for, and is able to take that deep knowledge and then serve them really well in a product that feels very natural. Also from a design perspective, because she understands the needs, it seems like she's made a lot of good design decisions in the app early, which is very rare at a company this young. Most companies this young, it looks terrible. This actually looked completely natural. So that's no small thing. So yeah, I was impressed.
Yeah, Brian, I'd be interested to know, you know, she showed her team and she said each of them had started their own businesses. Maybe that's where the experience in that space came from.
I could see that for sure.
I think she's built a lean, mean machine. For someone who hasn't raised significant capital, either grant or equity, she's really built something substantial. Really, really excited to see how the new rollout goes. My one concern would just be, you know, the barrier to entry here is fairly low. But I think she's definitely the person to do it. And I'm excited to see her expansion across the Midwest.
Awesome. All right.
Cool.
All right. So we're going to take, one more reminder to vote. If you're interested in voting for Provided Pool, text 11 to 203-408-6432. Once again, that is 11 to 203-408-6432. Which is also my favorite number, fun fact. And before we bring on the next company, it's my favorite number.
People say a number of different 2 digits.
Well, you know where I got it from? I got it from Venus Williams. She used to have a clothing line called 11. And the slogan was, be more than just number 1, be an 11.
Oh, okay, let's see. There's always a reason.
And while we get excited to see the next company, we're going to take a quick commercial break and hear from our friends at AARP.
There we go.
We are AARP Innovation Labs, the place where leaders with bold ideas and visionary entrepreneurs meet to solve the most prevalent problems in society. We want to ignite a future where aging well is the norm. Our work with startups accelerates product and service solutions that generate significant impact in the community we serve.
All right, we ready for the next? The why?
Absolutely. I don't know where she is. Where is she? Let's bring on Eliana.
Hello.
Eliana.
Hi.
Candace is.
Oh, am I gone?
It's all yours.
Ignore me. We'll restart the timer. Hey, Eliana. You're on.
Okay. Well, as everyone was mentioning, my name is Eliana Goldstein. I'm the co-founder at Get Mister, where we have developed a 3-in-1 moisturizer, aftershave, and a safer SPF specifically for men. And to understand why I've worked nights and weekends on sunscreen in St. Louis for the last 2 years, you have to understand a little bit more about my family and where I'm from. So both of my parents are physicians. My father is a family physician. My mother is a dermatologist and skin cancer surgeon. You can probably guess which one is my co-founder. And for them, treating others was not just their job, it was their way of life. So for the last 2 years, I've been fortunate to get to work alongside my mother on building Get Mister, because, you know, there's nothing for me, at least, more exciting than working alongside someone who is so passionate and understands the problem so acutely on a problem that's big and challenging. So I'm excited to share a little bit more in a second. Thanks.
Everybody's so good with the time. It's amazing. I would struggle. I would struggle with exactly a minute. So,
And my story would go on forever, so it doesn't really matter.
all right, shall we watch the pitch?
Hello, my name is Eliana Goldstein, and I am the co-founder at Get Mister, where we have developed a 2-in-1 moisturizer meets a better broad spectrum sunscreen, specifically formulated for men. Before I talk about our product, I want to talk about what is the silent epidemic in healthcare in the US. Millions of men are more likely to develop skin cancer over all other cancer in their lifetime. They're 3 times as likely as women, and unfortunately, when they do develop skin cancer, their treatments are often significantly more invasive and damaging. So what has the industry at large decided to do about it? Sunscreen, everyone's favorite thing. Well, maybe not so much. When we've spoken with over 1,000 men, they tell us that the sunscreens are too oily, greasy. And additionally, the FDA has looked at most sunscreens and stated that they're meeting their SPF claims. And further, the majority of the sunscreens on the market are chemical, which are not deemed as safe and effective by the FDA. Most importantly, they are not used by men daily. We know because our team has treated thousands of patients for skin cancer over the last 30 years. Co-founder and mother, Dr. Beth Goldstein, has treated over 10,000 patients for skin cancer and has built a network of practices across North Carolina. I've worked with her for the last 2 years to understand the problem and use my background in business and marketing to develop a compelling solution. The Daily. The Daily, a mineral moisturizer with broad spectrum SPF meant for daily wear. But why daily? Well,
Well, that has just never happened. Marlon is backstage.
Oh.
Marlon is losing it. We're gonna still see it, but we're gonna talk about it until it comes back.
So, quick note for everyone watching: our lovely Marlon has been in transit for the past couple of weeks, so he's having a little bit of internet connectivity issues today. So, we'll be back up in a minute.
He moved across the country, which is very cool.
Yeah, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure she'll. Oh, here we are.
We know because our team has treated thousands of patients for skin cancer over the last 30 years. My co-founder and mother, Dr. Beth Goldstein, has treated over 10,000 patients for skin cancer and has built a network of practices across North Carolina. I've worked with her for the last 2 years to understand the problem and use my background in business and marketing to develop a compelling solution. The Daily. The Daily, a mineral moisturizer with broad spectrum SPF meant for daily wear. But why daily? Well, growing up, I wore SPF daily. It just happened to be in my moisturizer or my makeup. My brothers, not so much. Yet wearing a sunscreen daily reduces your risk by nearly 40%. It's safe as it uses one simple active ingredient and always effective. But if men weren't using something daily, why now? And why with us? In fact, the men's personal care market is growing rapidly. There is a group of new consumers who are seeking out solutions that will be right for them. Additionally, we will be capitalizing on a proven model rather than having to reinvent our own: subscription and direct to consumer. However, we have an advantage. We will learn from the early errors of direct-to-consumer companies that grew too fast without maintaining a relationship with early customers. Further, the growth in direct-to-consumer investment and acquisition pipeline is remarkable. Companies like Gillette, Unilever, and others have recognized the immense value of partnering with and investing in early-stage companies in this category. Over the last 2 years, we have made significant progress on our company, working nights, weekends, and now full-time on the business. Receiving FDA approval on our initial formula, The Daily. We have interviewed over 800 men, and soon will be published in a reputable journal of dermatology. And finally, most importantly, we have launched pre-orders on our site through a crowdfunding campaign, surpassing our goal of $15,000 with over 200 pre-orders across the country. We know that the crowdfunding campaign is just a small part of an overall broader go-to-market strategy. We'll be using Dr. Goldstein's practice in North Carolina to test out our marketing messages, building up our presence online through social selling, as well as partnering with micro-influencers. And last, we will be focused on developing a strong relationship with early customers, gaining feedback along the way. So while other brands might focus on selling what's inside, every ingredient, every detail, this is table stakes for us. Our focus is on keeping it simple because skincare doesn't have to be complicated. Healthier, safer skin can be as simple as 5 pumps in 15 seconds every damn day. We hope that you start wearing SPF every damn day too. Thank you.
I love it.
I love every damn day.
I love 5 pumps, 15 seconds every damn day. God.
Oh, let's bring her back so we can just.
Hey, we just got to register for that too. So we're really excited about it. I can't lie. And we put it on our bottle. Yeah, it's like on our packaging.
I love it. I love it. So one thing that before I get started, Lexi, this is about to be so hard. We've got 12 companies and then you saved I didn't say you saved, but like there are good companies all the way through, even up to number 12. So like, how do we decide who the 3 companies are that go into the finals? Yikes.
Don't envy.
No idea.
No, this is going to be a rough weekend because we're going to decide over the weekend, right? Is that right?
We're going to decide between today and tomorrow.
Oh, I love you too. Okay, great. So congrats on your FDA approval. That's fantastic. Is this an American issue or is this a global issue? If I think about, and maybe this is my own bias or I'm just wrong in thinking of it. Kind of like sometimes Asian markets are much better with skincare, but is that skincare on the woman's side or is that all Asian markets, both men and women?
So I can't speak to the Asian markets as specifically, but I know specifically like in Australia, they've had a ton of problems here. They now have stricter regulations. And then in Europe, so in the UK, they've been posting a ton on how actually with COVID, there's less pollution in the air. The UV index has gotten higher. The instances of damage and burns, et cetera, are just getting worse and worse. So it's actually one of the only really preventable cancers that just continues to rise every single year because they're not doing the one thing that would actually serve them.
As far as kind of adherence to actually putting on a daily sunscreen, are other markets, do they do better or is it just men around the world are not using sunscreen?
So mostly in the US, we haven't looked as much outside also because we've been focused primarily on serving the US market specifically at first, but it is something that we should look into more to see what are the habits and behaviors of everyone abroad as well.
Okay.
Yeah. It is something that we should be looking more to. There's a little bit more of a normalized behavior outside of the US though.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, lovely.
Oh, fun. It's Dr. Goldstein. Thanks for
made it. Okay.
You made it.
I'm sure you've been here the whole time.
I have been listening. It's been very interesting.
Yeah, it was a fantastic pitch. Both you and your daughter are doing something phenomenal. So, all right, who's got the next question?
This is perfect. I'm glad you both are here because I have a question about really the origin story. I understand the product, I understand the why. I see the growing market, and I can tell you, even amongst friends, this is something that they're starting to talk about more and more. So there's a kind of an awareness and awakening going on that I think you guys are kind of rightly timed for. So my questions are really more about the origin story. Usually, if someone's mom is a doctor, they want to be an artist. If they want, they want to be so tell me about how you guys kind of came together and how this became really a passion.
I can start and then, sorry, and we're so used to talking all the time, so it's on camera calls like this. So I think about 2 years ago when I was graduating from UNC and I'd studied business and public policy, coincidentally, all of my policy papers were on tanning beds and trying to get people to not have free tanning beds on college campuses. So this goes back before aerospace. But, I think we were on a walk after yoga. That was our Sunday thing. And it was this thing like, I've seen the problem. I see this problem and it's getting worse every year. And I know we can do something about it, but like, it could be an aftershave. Like, it was really in that ideation phase. And so it was like that inkling, like I'm going away, I'm joining this fellowship, Venture for America. Shout out Alfred. That's how I know him in St. Louis. But it was this, how are we going to figure out like what's going to be the best? Oh, did I get cut out? Oh, it's just highlighting my face. But it was figuring out like what is the best solutions for that. And that's where the survey came in. Like, let's get outside of the doctor's office. Let's see, besides these things we know people hate about their products' characteristics, like what do people love about their mornings and about their skincare? And how can we play up to that as well? Dr. G, anything else on that end?
I would just say I've just seen for years how there's just wonderful products for women, but for men, it just was never hitting the mark. And particularly saw as there was more evidence and more preference to stay away from chemical sunscreens, that there just weren't great mineral sunscreens for men that didn't show up white in their beard and leave this white cast on their skin. So that there needed to be a better, more elegant product for daily use. It's not just when you go to the beach or when you go golfing or work in the yard or go fishing. This is for every single day, so you can get that reduction of risk.
And were you seeing that men had either more dramatic issues because there were so few products, or because there's so few standards around care?
Well, I think education of just them being aware that using something actually every day, not just when you go to the beach or when you're outside for hours and hours, is how you need to protect your skin. So I think an awareness. And then most of my male patients just hate the way stuff feels on their skin as related to sunscreen. They'll use a moisturizer or an aftershave, but the sunscreen, they didn't like the smell, or they felt it just too much on their face. They could feel it. And so I think there was double issues of education and having a product that they would like. And then I knew that, but I'm like, I wouldn't know how to market it or bring it to market, website, any of that. So that's
your
what
daughter
partnership
to
is here.
schools in the country, so that convenient, right? Cool.
And so where does this sit in a male skincare routine?
Yeah. So that's one of the questions I've been listening to. I'll say, do you do anything in the morning in all my interviews? And they'll go, nope, nothing. I'll go, well, do you ever shave? I'm like, oh yeah, I shave. And sometimes I'll do my hair. I'll do a gel in my hair. So it's like, okay, so what are the things? What are the habits? And so what our big messaging is, if you're going to start with something, make it an all-in-one, make it simple, safe. So this is right before your cup of coffee, after you brushed your teeth. It's the one thing for that one point in time. So we think like, I always use the analogy, like if you gave a toothbrush to only your daughter and not to your son, and then you were surprised why your son had cavities when they were older. And you said, well, you gave your daughter that toothbrush. You didn't give it the other thing. And so and they're doing it every day. And so, now we talked with people and we made an educational and informational video really before launch to say like that's the piece of it, like that click. And it's travel friendly.
How are you making sure that people are adapting to making it a habitual part of their routine as opposed to doing it for a few days and then fizzling out?
That has been my number one focus so I'm in an accelerator right now, a non-dilutive one through a fellowship that I went through, Venture for America. And my goal of these 4 months is building out that buyer journey. And how are we're not nagging you to buy more product. We're actually sending you encouraging messages throughout the experience of, it's okay to get started. New habits or habits themselves can be hard. So it's really more so around like, let's make this fun and be encouraging and send those gentle reminders afterwards about getting the most.
And I would also say that a lot of men are using something. So they're using a moisturizer. So it's not like we're trying to convince people who don't care. I mean, we can't really make them start using something, but if you're going to use a moisturizer or an aftershave, why not use something that is really good for you, that's really helping you be healthy? And so I think that is also part of where we're focusing our message.
And one quick note, folks who are watching, please put your questions in the comment box below for the Get Mr. team, and we'll ask them in just a moment. One other question for me, who is this gentleman and when is he finding you? Is he finding you for anti-aging reasons? I see some wrinkles. Or is he finding you for, wow, I don't want to get skin cancer and I'm really concerned with my health?
Yeah. So we've been segmenting our customers a little bit. And we know also on top of that, the buyer is not always the user. So especially with skincare products, primarily, we are talking a lot also to spouses who are encouraging, or even still, mothers and fathers who are the first people that they go, not just because they're buying it, but because they trust. They trust the opinions and the recommendations almost as much as if they were looking at WebMD. So it's really, truly, how do we start with them? So a person who follows a mom blogger on Instagram, complemented with sending to higher, more macro influencers that are male, who the men aspire to or look up to as well. So it's that gentle push on both sides. The gentleman we're starting out with, I will say, to answer your question, it's someone who is in their late 20s. They are working out, they're understanding of their health, and they're now realizing more and more, to Brian's point, that they pay attention to what's in their body, they pay attention to what they're doing with their workouts, and now they're paying attention to, oh, this can be for me too. And I can pay attention to what I'm putting on myself as well.
Excellent. Awesome. So I don't see any real questions. CEO X was wondering if he can get a free sample.
It's October.
And our friend Chandler Malone from Atento Capital is in the audience and says, "Go St. Louis." Just as a general note. And I think that's it for the audience. I'll give another shameless shout out to the VFA teams. I love VFA. Go VFA. Great organization. And I think that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you. Now
Thank you.
we get to the fun bit. Yeah.
Thanks so much. I couldn't think of a greater experience than to be building something with my mother. So I think that's really cool. And you two are really going to do something amazing.
I feel very lucky. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
I really want that product, real bad.
Yeah, real talk. Why hasn't someone done that? All right, we need to talk about this voting situation real quick. Sorry, we need to make sure they get their fair shake.
So if you'd like to vote for Get Mr., please text the number. I don't know how to do it with my hands this time. 12, because I have a dog in my lap. 12 to 203-408-6432. Once again, to vote for Get Mr. and help decrease skin cancer, text 12 to 203-408-6432.
Wait,
it's huge. This
How did
is
you do it?
huge, guys. My hands are full.
Oh. I'm sorry. I need to leave you alone. Go ahead.
There's a little boop, 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 boop. So, it's such an important problem, such an under-discussed problem, especially within the Black community, right? We have lower rates of skin cancer, but when we get it, we have higher mortality rates associated with it. And we talk about moisturizing all the time, right? It's such a big part of our culture, but we never talk about SPF. We never talk about sunscreen. So I love that they're really tackling this for men in particular who, tend to be a little bit more reluctant in terms of overall health and wellness. So really excited to see this come to market.
Yeah, I think they said that it comes out in November. Yeah, I think that my issue is just going to be will men use it, right? I think they will. And I think that they've got it right by trying to start it as a D2C company. I don't know. I'm super pumped about it.
Yeah. What's the downside? You might be using lotion on your face or moisturizing your face anyway. Why wouldn't you just add SPF to it to save yourself cancer? You know what I mean? It's no additional work to not get cancer. It just seems like a no-brainer, and it's a little shocking that you don't see that more often on the market.
Yeah, it was all of the products that like men use for shaving. Like, why isn't there something that they use kind of like after they're done? I know there's aftershave, but that's just like not the same situation. But why isn't there a kind of another thing that you add? No idea. I love the team. I love that you've got like that. What an expert, right? Like Dr. Goldstein, obviously, is at the top of her industry, and to have her daughter to really just be like fully focused on building this company out, and having experience in venture, and then being at VFA, I think is going to be an amazing duo.
Absolutely. And also, one thing that I think is super exciting is their product is built with an ingredient that doesn't leave that nasty white, filmy discoloration that a lot of the sunscreens on the market do. So it seems to be accessible for people of all skin tones and colors as well, which is really exciting because a lot of people are still using kind of that nasty, zinky stuff that leaves that white residue. So super excited to try it out.
Yeah, large enough market, and it's just really customer adoption.
Yeah, packaging, everything.
Yeah, the packaging looked great. I love the branding just in general. I love using it every damn day. Like, I love it.
Yeah, and these things are not mistakes. Like, they're not. You don't like happen across a great design or happen across a great tagline, right? Like, that founder just has it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, once again, if you would like to vote for the Get Mr. team, please text the number 12 to 203-408-6432. 12 to 203-408-6432. And folks, this is your last chance to vote for one of the original 12 contestants this season, as this is the last episode in the first round. Super
Shout out
excited
to Randy.
I think
Appreciate you out there.
Absolutely.
Jana, love it.
And so once again, thank you everyone for watching the show. It's been a great few episodes. Now, one quick note about our next episode, the finale. We will not be airing the finale this Thursday. We're going to take a little extra time, tabulate the votes, get a drink of water, get some tea, and then we'll be back on Tuesday with the finale, where we'll unveil the top 3 companies who will be competing for the grand prize. So once again, don't tune in Thursday. Go watch football. Come back here next Tuesday, though, for the finale. Once again, thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been a great episode. Thanks to our lovely sponsors, the Hillman Accelerator, the Ohio Third Frontier, AWS, Amazon Web Services, and AARP Innovation Labs. It's been fantastic. Thank you again. Good night. All right. Woohoo.
Behind the scenes.
Also, for behind the scenes, this was another night where the behind the scenes chat was really live. I thought like the Goldsteins and Ms. Westbrook and like everybody was like all like rah and love what you're doing, and I just love to see that.
I don't know how we've figured out how to accomplish like building culture in the private chat, but like it worked. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, I don't know how we're gonna pick.
I'm giving you 24 hours to get your votes together.
There's Lexi managing up.
All day, literally 40 hours.
Per the usual.
I would love to tell everyone if they're on the show by Friday morning. So.
Yep. If any of our LPs that are in the pipeline and we're in due diligence, this right here below, this is our secret sauce. So she's actually the lead of the company. Yes, we will have that in 24 hours. I know better.
I was thinking that the other day, in all seriousness. I was like, as LPs try to talk, like do background checks and try to better understand our thesis and how and why and all those things, they should just talk to Lexi, right? Like, just like, hey, Lexi, tell us all about these guys, and that's it. And like, and tell us about your own thesis, and that would be like enough.
Actually, why has nobody talked to you? It's almost like, Lexi, every time we come to you, we're like, hey, there's this magical pot of $1 million. Look what we got, and go ahead and spend it. Right? Like, it's just super strange that no one wants to talk to the rest of the team that's doing diligence.
It's doing the work. It's doing selection.
I like it that way. Let's keep it that way.
She's like,
The thing with me is like, the little like trolls that live like in the little cabin, under the stairway. That's just doing a little work. Or like the elves in the in Santa's workshop, just cranking out for Christmas Eve.
I love it. Actually, more of our LPs might want to just watch this show, because they always ask, like, how do you guys interact with each other? Just watch this. You're going to learn a lot. Yeah. It's either a blessing or a curse. I'm not sure.
This
But
is us.
what'd you say?
This is us. This is us all day.
Oh, I thought you said this is a curse.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is us all day.
This is us all day, for sure. For sure. Oh my goodness. Well, I think that popcorn needs to be popped, and maybe champagne needs to be popped too, because maybe we need to just, all get a little, we'll just figure it out. I can't say anything other than that. We just don't talk about that on the show. But yes, let's prepare for watching tonight's debates and be part of this democracy, because soon we'll be voting.
So everybody, Lexi has a closing. What is it like? Don't forget to vote. Do your census.
Oh yeah. So vote. No, not vote. Register to vote. Not yet.
Vote.
Ask 5 friends if they're registered to vote, and if they're
I like that.
walk them through how to do it. If you're not voting on voting day, get that mail-in ballot. Do it. Get all your paperwork together. Do what you got to do. Census. It's very important.
I think tomorrow's the last day. I think tomorrow is the last day to turn in your census.
So do it tonight. You can do it online, guys. It's super, super quick. I did mine online. It's super easy. Please fill it out. Once again, the word of the day is gerrymandering. The census is really one of our only ways to make sure that we are represented in the appropriate way in our communities. And, what the new one is that I'm going to add to the list, because I feel like we need to talk about it more. Take care of yourself. Have some real self-care, because I feel like this quarantine burnout situation, this Zoom life, I feel like it's coming to a halt for a lot of people. So if you need to take a step back, take a step back.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about the windows and doors closing, and suddenly it's going to be fall and people are going to get sick. And we're all going to be stuck within the same ventilation system, sharing our aerosols. So,
Not me.
Brackeen.
Yeah.
So glad this is not the show right now.
Me and Lexi, the rest of the team, we're headed.
People. Okay, let's just
for real, everyone, take care of yourself. Take care of your bodies. Please don't get COVID. Wear your masks, and take care of your mind and spirit too. Like, if you're anything like me, when it gets gray and dark and nasty outside, it hurts a little bit on the inside. So take care of yourself.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.